Hello everyone, we are here to answer a lot of your frequently asked questions that you have asked us in the course Design Thinking a Primer hosted by NPTEL. I am Sukrat. With me is Professor Bala and my colleague Sham. How we'll do it is we'll take your questions one by one, display on the screen, and from our experience, answer them in a short, crisp, and precise manner.
Okay, so over time, we've accumulated a lot of questions based on what you've asked. Very quick introduction to design thinking would be that it's human-centered design. Put yourself in the shoes of the user or customer of the product or service that you want to deliver to your user or customer. Think of what they're going through and then design and redesign and improve your product and service based on that. That's the essence of design thinking in a nutshell.
Thank you.
So with that we can start with the other questions that are really has bothered, let's say, or has occurred to lots and lots of learners in the past. We felt that this requires a complete video, and that's why we are here. Over to you, Supra.
So, amongst our question repository, the first and the most basic question that we've got is how exactly is it that you're going to define design thinking?
So, to give you a very short history of this new phrase we call design thinking, is that designers of products and services used to follow a process. They did it very well. And this is popularized by IDEO. We talked about it in the video also. And they said, how can we encapsulate this, codify it, take the essence of that methodology and give it to the outside world, that is the non-design world. And that's why it's called design thinking. So the thinking comes from the design world and it's now applicable all across domains. You don't have to be a designer. You don't have to be a specialist in technology. And you can perform the process of what designers used to do in any of professions, any of the services or the products that you are working with. It could be small, it could be big, it doesn't matter. It's the thinking, and that will guide you, help you towards effective products and services, effective features for existing products and services, or giving you, furnishing absolutely new product and services. That's the essence of design thinking. And if you want to call it defining, that's the definition. In one sentence, if it were like an exam and you'd ask that, how do you define design thinking? It would be human-centered design. So the human being using the product or service is our center of our universe, of our product universe, or of our service universe, and we do design everything for that human being. That's what I would say.
I think I'll try to put it in another summary, maybe that design thinking, as you said, is a human-centered approach to problem solving that empathizes on, like we have our four things: empathy, creativity, and a lot of experimentation. So I think that would be in general gist of the definition of design thinking. One of the things that you asked, one of the things that you mentioned, sir, is the connect with the design aspect of design thinking. So another question that we keep getting is that are designing and design thinking connected?
Excellent. So designing, according to me, is the act of actually going ahead and doing. So I would say it comes in the latter half of the design thinking process. The actual you sitting down and not only thinking about how to solve the problem, but actually solving it for your customers or user. So yes, there is a design component. Yes, there is creation of new artifacts, which is the core of design. And you come up with a design, you generate a design just before that. So that would be solving a problem itself, coming up with ideas. Okay, that blackboard is throwing up a lot of chalk. Maybe you should come up with a blackboard does not give chalk. powder at all, or the chalk itself doesn't give off powder and hurt the teacher's eyes. Okay, so you're thinking about this is a solution, it's a design, but when you actually make it, is the design part of it. The chalk, which is smokeless or powderless, and the blackboard that absorbs all the chalk and doesn't give anything out, is that product design, the design that's come up. Everything that happened before that, which is you figuring out that the teacher has a problem of smoke getting into her eyes. The powder getting into her eyes. That would be the first, you realizing that there's a problem to solve. And then you say, okay, this is because the chalk has all of these particles put together very loosely. So only about 50-60% of it sticks to the board. Rest of it flies off as chalk dust, and that gets into the eyes. So I'm going to fix it at the chalk level, where I'm going to make sure it's more compacted, much finer, and that is going to be my new design. So we started with the thinking, which is figuring it out and identifying the root causes, and then eventually coming up with the design, and that goes over to the design. You build a chalk which is dust free, or the blackboard which is absorbing all the dust, and that's a new product. Now you would give that chalk to the teacher and see if it actually solves her problem or not. So that would actually close the loop. Now you're thinking, you're designing, you're thinking, you're designing. So very, very close loop, and a very close knit group as that loop as well. So that's what is the connection between the two. There's a very, very tight connection between the two. One thing cannot act without the other. You can't just keep thinking and saying, I'm going to help the teachers. It's a great statement to make, but how have you helped her? That's the design part of it. And then you make. So you can't just keep making and learning from that alone. You have to do some thinking part of it. And you come back and say, that didn't quite work out as I planned. There was still some problems with how it's not visible. So it's great that it doesn't give off any dust, but it's not visible to students. Now you're looking at it from a completely different perspective, and you're coming back. So that's how I would say that they're tightly connected.
I think that brings us to the end of questions related to the introduction or the concept of design thinking. In the next section, we will move on to questions related to applications of design thinking. Thank you, sir.